Shabbat Shalom. I'm Jim Kaplan, a Beth Torah member, and I'm pleased to lead worship tonight as Shaliach Tzibur, an emissary of the congregation. I'm joined by Leslie Zucker, our music director, by Warren Sickle on clarinet, by Harris Deutsch on harmonica, and by our rhythm section of Joel Krushever and Howard Pittler, and by our technical team celebrating in the back. Thank you to the Beyond Our Walls BOW committee for keeping us connected, and to our digital docents for managing the stream of our worship online. For those of you who are here with us tonight, the prayer pages I call out will be the page numbers in blue in the brackets, and respecting our atmosphere of worship, please silence your electronic devices. We welcome Shabbat together by lighting the Shabbat candles. The blessing is on page 120.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech להדליק נר של Shabbat.
We continue reading together on page 121. As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we, in our own day, be among those who kindle light. On page 130, we join in singing the first two lines of Psalm 95, which begins, "Come, let us sing joyously to Adonai."
Lechu neranena, lechu neranena, lechu neranena, Adonai. Lechu neranena, lechu neranena, lechu neranena, Adonai. Naria, naria, letzor yishenu, nekadma fana betoda. Naria, naria, letzor yishenu, bizmirot naria lo. Lechu neranena, lechu neranena, lechu neranena, Adonai. Lechu neranena, lechu neranena, lechu neranena, Adonai.
We greet Shabbat on page 138 with Lechado D, verses 1, 2, 5, and 9.
Lecha Lechado D, likrat likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabala. Lecha Lechado D, likrat likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabala. La 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 Lechado D, likrat likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabala. Lecha Lechado D, likrat likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabala. Shamor v'zachor b'dibor echad, Hishmi'anu el hameyuchad, Adonai echad u'shemo echad, L'shem tiferet v'litchila, la 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 la, Lechado D, likrat likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabala. Lecha Lechado D, likrat likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabala. Likrat Shabbat, lechu v'nelcha, ki mekor averacha, merush mikedem lesucha, sof ma'aseh v'makshavad
Tchila la 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 la, Lechado D, likrat likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabala. Lecha Lechado D, likrat likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabala. Hitorari, ki vayorech, kumi uri, shir daveri, kavod anolai, liklik nigla la 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 la, Lechado D, likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabala. Lecha Lechado D, likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabala. Bo'im v'shalom, atzeret bala, gam b'simcha u'b'tzola, toch emunei am segula. Lechado D, likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabala. Lecha Lechado D, likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabala. La 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 la, Lechado D, likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabala. Lecha Lechado D, likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabala. Page 145. Teach me, O God, a blessing, a prayer on the mystery of a withered leaf, on ripened fruits so fair, on the freedom to see, to sense, to breathe, to know, to hope, to despair. Teach my lips a blessing, a hymn of praise, as each morning and night you renew your days. Let my day be today as the one before. Let routine set my ways. Entrances to holiness are everywhere. The possibility of ascent is all the time. Even at unlikely times and through unlikely places, there is no place on earth without the presence. Page 146. Page 151, toward the bottom. Wisdom and wonder, passion and instruction, story and symbol, all these things your Torah gives us. And the more we devote ourselves to it, the more it grows and gives. What could be a truer token of your abiding love than this holiest of your works, and the living language that gives it form? Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael. You shall love Adonai, your God, with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your might. And all these words which I command you on this day shall be in your heart, shall be in your heart, and you shall teach them diligently unto your children, and you shall speak of them when you sit in your house, when you walk by the way, and when you lie down, and when you rise up, and when you rise up, and you shall bind them for a sign upon your hand, and they shall be a symbol between your eyes, and you shall write them on the doorposts
doors of your house, and upon your gates, and upon your gates, that you may remember and do all of my commandments, and be holy unto your God, unto your God, unto your God.
Page 157. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before we ever stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there is no way to get from here to there except by holding hands, marching together. Mi Chamocha, page 158.
Mi kamocha bailim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh. Mi kamocha bailim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh. Nora oseh, Nora oseh. Imloch le'olam vayed, malchutecha ra'u v'necha, bokei hayam lifnei Moshe Miriam, ze Elianu le'amaru, ze Elianu le'amaru, Adonai, imloch le'olam vayed. Ya la la la, ya la la, ya la la la, ya la la la, ya la 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 la, ya la la la, ya la la, ya la la la, ya la la la, ya la la, ya la.
Page 161. Give us a place to rest, Adonai our God. Bring us into shelter in the soft, long evening shadows of your truth. For with you are true protection and safety, and in your presence are acceptance and gentle love. Watch over us as we go forth, prepare for us as we return. Spread over us your shelter of peace, over all we love, over our Jerusalem and yours.
Baruch atah Adonai, haporei sukat shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael. Baruch atah Adonai, haporei sukat shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael. Ve'al Yerushalayim, ve'al kol amo, ve'al Yerushalayim, shalom. Baruch atah Adonai, haporei sukat shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo, shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo, shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael. Ve'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, לעשות את השבת לדורותם, ברית עולם ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי
Ufi yagi tehilatecha. Anananananana Adonai. Ananananana svatai tiftach. Ananananana ufi yagi tehilatecha. Ananananana Adonai. Ananananana svatai tiftach. Ananananana ufi yagi tehilatecha. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzchak Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel Elohei Leah Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Hanora El Elyon Gomel Chasadim Tovim V'Konei Hakol V'Zocher Hasei Avot V'Imaot U'Mevii Gula Livnei Bneihem L'Ma'an Shemo Be'ahava Melech Ozer U'Moshia U'Magen Baruch atah Adonai Magen Avraham V'Ezrat Sarah Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai Mechaye Metim Atarav L'Hoshiach Morid Hatal Mechalkel Chaim Bechesed Mechaye Metim Berachamim Rabim Somech Noflim V'Rofei Cholim Umatir Asurim Umekayem emunato lishenei afar. Micha mocha bal gevurot umido melach. Melech meimit umechayer umatzmiach Yeshua. V'man atal hachayot metim. Baruch atah Adonai Mechaye hametim. Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh u'kadoshim b'chol yom yihalu hasela. Baruch atah Adonai ha'el hakadosh. Days pass and the years vanish, and we walk sightless among miracles. God, fill our eyes with seeing and our minds with knowing. Let there be moments when your presence, like lightning, illumines the darkness in which we walk. Help us to see wherever we gaze that the bush burns unconsumed, and we, clay touched by God, will reach out for holiness and exclaim in wonder, how filled with awe is this place, and we did not know it. Blessed is the Eternal One, the Holy God. Baruch atah Adonai ha'el hakadosh. Page 173. May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day. And may this day fulfill its promise. Baruch atah Adonai Mekadesh HaShabbat. Bottom of 175. You are with us in our prayer, our love, and our doubt, in our longing to feel your presence and do your will. You are the still, clear voice within us. Therefore, O God, when doubt troubles us, when anxiety makes us tremble, when pain clouds the mind, we look inward for the answer to our prayers. There may we find you, and there find courage, insight, and endurance. And let our worship bring us closer to one another, that all Israel and all who seek you may find new strength for your service. Baruch atah Adonai, she'odecha levadcha v'yira navod. God of goodness, we give thanks for the gift of life, wonder beyond words, for the awareness of soul, our light within, for the world around us so filled with beauty, for the richness of the earth, which day by day sustains us, For all these and more, we offer thanks. Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shimcha ulachana el hodot. We continue reading silently to page 180, adding the prayers that are in your hearts. When you have completed your prayers, please be seated. Shani Mirma, Usvatai Medaber Mirma, Vilim Kalalai, Nafshi Tidom, Benafshi Keafar La Koltia, Elohai, 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 Nitzor Lishani Mirma, Usvatai Medaber Mirma, Vilim Kalalai, Nafshi Tidom, Benafshi Keafar La Koltia, Elohai, Elohai, Tag Libi, Tag Libi. Time it a bear mirma, Vilim Kalalai, Nafshi Tidom, Benafshi Elohai, Elohai, Yehiyu Ratzon in Refi, Vehekyon Libi Lefonecha, Adonai. We continue on page 371. The Mishaberach prayer asks for our healing. You will find a list of some who need our prayers of healing, be it emotional, spiritual, or physical, in the e-news that you received this morning. The list is also linked in the comments section. If you have additional names to add, please type them, if you're online, in the comments section now so that we may include them in our prayers. For those here with us, we offer an opportunity to identify others who may need our prayers. The Mishaberach is on page 371. we offer a prayer for those with addiction and mental health struggles. May the one who blessed our ancestors bring blessings of strength, compassion, and healing to those of us who struggle with the oppression of addiction, emotional distress, and mental suffering. Surround them with loving kindness, grace, and companionship, and bring them peace.
Those in need of healing with refuah shalema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
So, it's now time for our Simcha moment. Please share a special Simcha, a joy from the past week, by typing your Simcha if you're online, be it a birthday, anniversary, or other good news. If you're here in person, we invite you to come up to the Simcha mic, one person or one family at a time. I'm asked to remind you to please refrain from touching the microphone. It's very sensitive.
Carol is ornery.
Don't touch that mic.
I didn't touch it.
Okay.
I'm Carol, and I had a really special moment. A couple weeks ago, Aviva put out on the Oneg table 2 pieces of literature. One of them was a reminder for the Day of Discovery, and the other one was a reminder for the balloons at sunset, a celebration in the mitzvah garden. So I was able to go home and sign up for the Day of Discovery and still get in on the early bird. I had been I was gonna, and that was enough to spur me on to do it. And I also signed up to go to the mitzvah garden celebration. So that Sunday morning, or Sunday afternoon, I guess, I picked up my 2 friends and we went and attended the judges' seminar, which is in the afternoon. And then I told them that I was going to the mitzvah garden celebration that night, and if they had $18, they could go. And they both decided to go, and I was so proud that I was able to bring 2 extra people to the fundraiser. Well, they had a drawing, and I bought one of the tickets for $20. And I came in as the runner-up. However, last night I got a phone call, maybe it was the night before, but recently I got a phone call explaining that the first place person was in Israel, and so they decided to award the balloon ride to me, and I was so excited. Yeah.
She gets a balloon ride. I don't know if everybody heard that. She gets to go up in a balloon.
I'm Mark Herman.
And I'm Vicki Herman.
We're celebrating 31 years of marriage.
Good morning, good evening. My name is Peter Peiser, and I've had some wonderful things that have happened to me this summer. Number one, on July 5th, I retired when Jess came in to handle the office here at our wonderful congregation. And another thing that was really wonderful is after retirement, one of the things you do is you sell and you move south, right? So I can share with you today that I have moved south, and I want to let you know where I'm going to be. I moved all the way from Prairie Village to Overland Park, and I'm glad to be here.
But it's south.
South is relative, right?
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about this.
Can't reach it, can you?
Yeah, right. Okay, never heard that before. Okay, I'm Barb, and on August 12th, I just had a 65th birthday. And yes, and I feel really good, and I'm really excited, and well, Jim beat me to it, though. So, there you go.
So this past Sunday, I was also at Day of Discovery, and I was there with the religious school staff. We had a wonderful full-day training. And by the way, because I don't think it's in the announcements, religious school starts on 9/11. I didn't pick the date. That's just the way it worked out. But if you have religious school kids, and all of you out there in TV land, and they're not enrolled in the Weiner Religious School, please call the office on Tuesday, and we'll get you going.
So, in honor of your simchas, Rabbi David Wolpe, now Rabbi Emeritus from Sinai Temple in Los Angeles, retells this Hasidic tale about the sage of Lublin. When he was a child, the sage of Lublin lived near a forest. Almost daily, the young boy ventured off into the woods by himself. His father, who was basically a tolerant and understanding man, didn't want to interfere with his son's daily excursions, but he was concerned because he knew forests could be dangerous places. One day, the father pulled his son aside and he said to his son, "I notice that every day you go off into the forest. I don't want to forbid you to go there, but I want you to know that I'm concerned for your safety. Why is it that you go there, and what is it that you do?" The boy responded, "I go to the forest to find God." His father was deeply moved. "That's beautiful," he said, "and I'm pleased to hear that you're doing that. But don't you know God is the same everywhere?" "God is," the boy answered, "but I'm not." Rabbi Wolpe makes the point that the story of the Sage of Lublin is about the power of finding a place, a situation, or an environment that changes us. It's the way in which, at our best, what we're trying to do is shape our souls to do that which we are more in harmony with what God wants of us. Thank you to those of you who shared your joys with us tonight. You've raised the happiness of all the members of our CBT community. In honor of your events, we offer the following prayer. Divine source of blessing, we thank you for everything that enriches our lives. We turn to you now with gratitude as we join in the happiness of all those who mark the varied simchas and blessings that they have shared. Adonai be with them, now and always. May they be blessed with the strength to overcome sickness and sorrow, and with much health and happiness, now and always. As we honor each one of you for the gifts that you brought to our sacred community, we join together in song as we mark this sacred occasion. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehecheyanu v'kimanu v'higiyanu b'zman hazeh. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehecheyanu v'kimanu v'higiyanu b'zman hazeh. We continue with the blessing for the new month of Elul in our prayer book on page 379.
It's a very full night.
Yeah, exactly. Yehi ratzon milfanecha Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu. Together, our God and God of our ancestors, may the new month bring us goodness and blessing. May we have long life, peace, and prosperity, a life exalted by love of Torah and reverence for the divine, a life in which the longings of our heart are fulfilled for good. Rosh Chodesh Elul hu hayom, the new month of Elul begins today. And I know there's 2 days, and it's okay. Those of you who those of you who follow the Hebrew calendar, there's 2 days of Rosh Chodesh, and it's just sort of weird.
It's ridiculous.
So the Ofruf ceremony is an ancient custom. The word Ofruf, as we now use for this event, is Yiddish for calling up. So I'd like to call up a couple before their wedding, which is this weekend. Sarah Herman and Rafi Schuster, can you please come up here for a sec? It's not stressful, it's, yeah, either side. So rabbis tell us that King Solomon built a special entry, for grooms, and when people saw someone walk through it, they would shower them with blessings. So today, our congregation is moved to reenact that expression of joy by showering the two of you with our blessings. And I have another tale. Rabbi Moshe Bogolimsky wrote a book called V'dibarta Bam, coordinating each Torah portion with an appropriate wedding blessing. Yes, in the long history of Judaic literature, you can find just about anything. The first word of Torah in this portion is, this Shabbat, is re'eh, which translates to see. Rabbi Bogomilsky tells a story that happened somewhere in a kitchen one Friday. A young child came home from school with a crayon drawing she had completed that day. She almost danced into the kitchen, in which her mother was preparing Shabbat dinner. "Mother," she cried in glee, "you'll never guess what." "You're right," said Mother, not looking up. "I don't know, what?" "Mother, you're not listening." "Yes, I am, darling," said the mother as she continued to chop and mix. The girl responded, "But Mother, you're not listening with your eyes." The rabbi tells this story to teach that if the two of you, Chatan and Kala, will always listen to each other with your eyes, see each other face to face, and strive to perceive the blessings and challenges you may encounter in a positive way, then you have the assurance expressed by Moses when he told our ancestors that they must strive to see what was before them. When you do this, see the good in each other, your marriage will be a source of blessing to you, to your families, and to all of us who wish you well. In your honor, on behalf of Congregation Beth Torah, I offer the following blessing. Mishaberach Avatenu V'imotenu. May God, who blessed the men and women of Israel in every generation, bless this bride and groom. May God guide them on life's journey. May their marriage be a joy and a good example to all who know them. May they fashion a Jewish home worthy of praise, a secure refuge, where they find tranquility during all their days together. May the love of this couple inspire and bless their family, their friends, and the community of Israel. Yivarechechem Adonai v'yishmerechem, Ya'er Adonai panav elechem v'chunechem, Yisa Adonai panav elechem v'yasem lachem shalom. May God bless you and keep you. May God's light shine upon you. May God be gracious to you. May you feel God's presence within you always, and may you find peace. And to this we all say, Amen.
Simen tov, mazel tov, mazel tov, simen tov, simen tov, mazel tov, mazel tov, simen tov, simen tov, mazel tov, mazel tov, simen tov. Yehelanu, 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 Kol Yisrael, Yehelanu, Yehelanu. Yisrael, Yehelanu, Yehelanu, Ulachol Yisrael, Yehelanu, Yehelanu, Ulachol Yisrael. Simen tov, mazel tov, mazel tov, simen tov, simen tov, mazel tov, mazel tov, simen tov, simen tov, mazel tov, mazel tov, simen tov.
Mazel tov.
Mazel tov. You know, we don't usually clap, but I understand that it's okay on Shabbat to clap if
With
it's
music,
for
especially.
for a bride and groom. So we're now into the third parsha of the book of Devarim, or Deuteronomy. Moses and over 600,000 Israelites are spread across the plains of Moab on the east bank of the Jordan River, across from Canaan, the Promised Land. They can see their future homeland. Across the river, there's the city of Jericho. From a practical standpoint, clearly 600,000 households could not hear and probably could not even see Moses, but we are to presume that what Moses said to the assembled multitudes charged them with the construction of a new Jewish society. For the past two parshiot, Moses has set up the prologue to his restatement of the guiding principles of the Jewish society to come. It's said that Moses spoke the words that ended up as the book of Deuteronomy over 36 days. So we're now about 3 days into schwitzing in the sun, and here comes Moses and all the details that he relates at the end of his life in Devarim chapters 12 through 26, defining a future Jewish society. This will include Re'eh, our parsha this weekend, and the next three parshiot, that in some ways we are reliving how it supposedly evolved in real time, because it's going to cover about 36 days. We will subsequently hear these principles echoed endlessly by Israel's prophets and leaders for generations to come. We begin in Re'eh, see, this day I set before you blessing and curse. Blessing if you obey Adonai's commandments that I enjoin on you this day, and curse if you do not obey Adonai's commandments, but turn away from the path that I enjoin upon you this day and follow other gods. So, says Rabbi Jonathan Sachs, it's pretty clear. If you behave well, things will go well. If you act badly, things will turn out badly. Behaving well means honoring your covenant with God, being faithful, and acting in accordance with God's commandments. Sure, there have been times when God acted with chesed, kindness, extended to the Jews even when we didn't deserve it. But Moses warns that we shouldn't count on that. To survive, Israel must behave as a kingdom of priests and a holy nation. Maimonides, writing in Hilchot Teshuvah, sees this passage as proof of our belief in free will. It's a religious tenet, but it's also a political statement that connects individual freedom with collective freedom. Rabbi Sachs, in his book Morality, explains that this was the first attempt in history to create a free society. The principle was, if humans are to be free, then they'll need a free society within which to exercise that freedom. In Egypt, or in many of the other societies observed by the Jews on their travels through the desert, or even in subsequent great societies such as Greece and Rome, there was a covenantal relationship between the people and the state. In contrast, in Judaism, we serve God alone. In Devarim, Moses outlines a dual responsibility, both individual and collective, with that responsibility being to God. I am responsible for what I do, but I'm also responsible for what you do. Maimonides wrote in Sefer HaMitzvot, it's not right for any of us to say, I will not sin, but if somebody else sins, that's the matter between them and God. This is the opposite of Torah. In other words, it's not the government or its officials that are guardians of the law, although these may also be necessary. The primary guardian is each and all of us together. By integrating an ethical covenant with God into our existence, we assume the responsibility of maintaining our society. In fact, the covenant means that we cannot delegate moral responsibility away to the state or to our leaders, but rather it becomes the job of each of us, separately and together, to make or break our society. We must behave in a manner that allows freedom of choice. In his book, Democracy in America, Alexis de Tocqueville wrote, liberty cannot be established without morality, nor morality without faith. And Edmund Burke once wrote, society cannot exist unless a controlling power upon will and appetite be placed somewhere, and the less of it that there is within us, the more there must be without. It's interesting that these principles, later expressed, come from the Deuteronomic concepts. It's also noteworthy to realize, as enduring proof of concept, that there is no current surviving Hittite, Sumerian, ancient Egyptian, or even Roman or Greek society and culture. The principles of Judaism, on the other hand, have survived countless generations and diverse geographic applications. Conceptually, if all power, wealth, and might belong to God, then none of these elements set us apart from one another. We're all equally precious, and we've been individually and collectively charged to create a just society that honors human dignity and freedom. In our parsha, Moses is about to elaborate three central concepts that mold a Jewish free society. They are freedom of choice, collective responsibility, and God-centered politics. First, as it relates to free choice, Moses says, you decide, blessing or curse, good or evil, faithfulness or faithlessness. These individual choices have always been part of the human condition. They were present in the stories of Adam and Eve and of our forefathers and mothers and the countless individuals depicted in the first 4 books of the Torah. What was new was facing these choices as a nation, as a society. One could not place the fate of decision in the hands of leaders or blame them on the result of defeat by our enemies. The decisions were in our hands. The sovereignty of God did not remove human responsibility. It made it even more important. So Moses taught that faithfulness to God alone would allow our society to prevail, and that acceptance of the responsibilities that accompany a covenant with God was a free choice. Second, Moses says that we must be collectively responsible. We read that the fate of the community that is Israel depends on the response of all of Israel, metaphorically from the heads of your tribes, your elders, and your officers, to your hewers of wood and drawers of water. We are each moral agents, conjointly responsible for the common good. That collective morality would be the determinant of our destiny, not the decision of a king or a governing elite. Modern author Michael Walzer, writing in the book God's Shadow, Politics in the Hebrew Bible, categorized biblical Israel as an almost democracy, long before such concepts were even developed. The collective society, by adopting commonly held beliefs, shared in determination of their fate. Finally, without directly identifying it, Moses established God-centered politics. There was no word for the principle at that time, so subsequently the ancient historian Josephus coined the term theocracy. And over time this came to mean rule by priests, so it doesn't really depict God-centered politics. Rabbi Sachs prefers the term nomocracy, which would be the rule of laws, not men. In this case, the rule are God's rules, as described to us by Moses. These three Deuteronomic elements were the key to development of the Jewish nation: free choice, collective responsibility, and God-centered politics. The goal was to balance freedom and responsibility so they were equally shared by all. Conceptually, since God is our only sovereign, then all human power is limited and subject to moral constraints. As Jews, we've been inspired by Moses' words, and we have pursued the belief that an entire nation could govern itself with freedom and equal dignity. Multiple Torah scholars, dating back to observations in the Talmud, remarked on the odd grammatical structure in the first sentence that opens our parsha, Re'eh. The sentence begins singular and ends plural. How odd. Why is this so? Re'eh is singular for the command to see. From this we learn that the mitzvot presented in Devarim are assigned individually to every member of the entire Jewish people. The responsibility for the covenant with God is incumbent upon each Jew as a member of the group. The sentence ends with lifnechem, before you all, expressed in the plural, reminding us that we are interdependent, each of us relying on every other member of our society to make a commitment to a covenant with God. The Eitz Chaim commentary on Parsha Re'eh points out the distinguishing characteristic of human beings, setting us apart from all other animals, is our ability to choose the values by which we live. The principles that guide our choices are woven in our fabric, handed down through many generations. These principles shape our individual and our collective decisions. I pray we can choose wisely. Ken Yehiratzon. Our worship continues on page 586 and 591. The rabbis of the 14th century added the Aleinu to the closing of each worship service to end our service on a hopeful note. No matter what our days are like now, our best days lie ahead. The Aleinu is on 586 and 591. Please rise.
Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, latet gedula liyotzeh breshit, shelo asanu kegoyei haratzot, velo samanu k'mishpachot ha'adama, shelo sam kelkeinu kahem, Vegor aleinu kechol hamonam, v'anachnu korim umishtachavim umodim lifnei melech malchei hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. ונאמר והיה אדוני
Bayom hahu Adonai echad u'shemo echad. V'ne'emor Adonai l'melech al kol ha'aretz. Bayom hahu Adonai echad u'shemo echad. Bayom hahu Adonai Adonai echad u'shemo echad. Bayom hahu Adonai echad u'shemo echad. V'ne'emor Adonai l'melech al kol ha'aretz. Bayom hahu Adonai echad u'shemo echad. We join together reading from page 593. The light of life is a finite flame. Like the Shabbat candles, life is kindled. It burns, it glows, it's radiant with warmth and beauty. But soon it fades, its substance is consumed, and it is no more. In light we see, in light we are seen. The flames dance, and our life burns down in gutters. There's an end to the flames. We see no more and are no more seen, yet we do not despair, for we are more than a memory, slowly fading into the darkness. With our lives we give life. Something of us can never die. We move in the eternal cycle of darkness and death, of light and life. This week we remember those who are in the Shloshim period, Jack Shames, father of Cindy Shames, and those whose yahrzeits happened this week, Jeannie Bellotti, Jack Belmont, Faye Ginson, Gilbert Greenwald, Ida Kaplan, Ruth Katz, David Kupperman, Maureen Kupperman, Chester Lampert, Minda Naomi Levy, Audrey Milgram Klein Bayer, David Penner, Seal Leifer Prager, Jack M. Rozovsky, Raymond Rittmaster, Meyer Rosentrader, Nathan Sauls, Jason Kipweiner, Edith White, and Stacy F. Yedlin. If you are here to say Kaddish for someone whose name I did not read, please let me know their names so we may include them in our prayers. Thank you. Zichronam Livracha, may their memories be a blessing. Kaddish Yatom is on page 598. We stand as a community to support those in mourning. Yit Gadal v'yit Gadash me Rabbah, be'alma divra chirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, b'agalav v'zman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mavarach le'olam u'me'almaya. Yit barach v'yishtabach v'yit ba'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei dekudisha b'richu. Le'ela min kol berchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, da'amiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shmaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mramav, hu yaseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen.
Oseh shalom b'mramav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imru
We have some announcements to, I think, read together here. So here we go.
Shabbat Shalom. Thank you to Dr. Jim Kaplan, to Joel Critchever, Howard Pittler, Warren Sickle, and Harris Deutsch for leading tonight's service with me. Also, thank you to Scott Franklin, Paula Fremerman, and Barb Mendelson for being our Shalom squad and welcoming us all home to Beth Torah. And last but not least, thank you to Dave for live streaming this service and enabling us to go beyond our walls and telling me when my microphone is off.
Our Shabbat celebration continues tomorrow with in-person Sichat Shabbat at 9 a.m., led by our own Jill Madoff. And there's no virtual component this week. You need to come there and be there. Then we will come together for our Shabbat morning worship at 10:30, both physically at Beth Torah and virtually online.
We have a few exciting events coming up. There's an exclamation point in parentheses. I don't know
This
how
was
to
prepared
how
by
to give
Aviva.
that to
Yeah.
you. Exciting.
Oh, yeah, thank you.
I bring my exclamation points with me. Events coming up. First, our Rosh Hashanah gift assembly is this Sunday from 10 a.m. to noon. Please email Aviva if you'd like to lend a hand.
Second, our blood drive for the Community Blood Center is this Wednesday, so begin storing up your red corpuscles from 2:30 to 6:30 p.m. It doesn't really say that about the red corpuscles. We're proud to share that all appointment slots are booked. That's really cool. And walk-ins are welcome, so we cannot wait to save many lives together.
And I feel like I want to add this little bit about the blood drive. That they are doing this thing where it's give a pint, get a pint.
Oh, yeah.
So if you come and give a pint of blood, you will get a voucher for a free or discounted pint of beer at a local pub or brewery. I am just saying everybody wins. That's all I'm saying.
After you donate.
This Wednesday. And then the High Holy Days are just 1 month away. Please visit our website or app to register for your tickets. And then third and a half, and finally last, I do want to reiterate, Religious School starts on September 11th. If you have questions, Howard's your man.
And following our closing song, please join us in the Ulam for Oneg, sponsored by Mark and Vicki Herman, thank you, in celebration of Sarah Herman and Rafi Schuster's wedding. Mazel tov to the Herman-Schuster families, and we were honored to celebrate together tonight. Oh, our closing song, sorry. Our closing song will be a prayer for healing. We sing in sort of a call and response fashion. The words are also on the screen,
They're
and
call and response.
they're very limited words.
Dear God of our ancestors,
Dear God of our ancestors,
help us renew our faith.
help us renew our faith.
Grant us a perfect healing.
Grant us a perfect healing.
Bring peace to all our days.
Bring peace to all our days.
El not together. Rifana la. Rifana la nu. El na. Rifana la. Rifana la nu. Restore our strength of body.
Restore our strength of body.
Help clarify our minds.
Help clarify our minds.
Refresh our tired spirits.
Refresh our tired spirits.
Rejuvenate our light.
Rejuvenate our light.
El na rifana la. Rifana la nu. El na rifana la. Rifana la nu. Thank you for all these blessings.
Thank you for all these blessings.
Throughout our days and nights,
Throughout our days and nights,
we celebrate the journey,
we celebrate the journey,
this precious gift of life.
this precious gift of life.
El na rifana la, rifana la nu. El na rifana la, rifana la nu. El na rifana la, rifana la nu. El na rifana la, rifana la nu.
Shabbat Shalom.
Take care of each other out there.